Hello, guys. We're back. I'm Joel,
I'm Jessica.
and this is part 2 of our parenting question answering sessions. So, we have our friends that have asked us a lot of questions over many years, and I think that happens because I think we have pretty good kids. And
We have a lot of experience because we have 4 kids.
right,
So,
right. So, we are going to answer what do we got? How many questions?
5.
All right, let's see if we can get to all 5 of these. And if you guys think I talk a lot, I do, you're right, but she told me to do most of the talking also.
Okay, so question number 1. Where do they keep, the children, where do they keep their money? In a custodial account, an investment account? Do you let them have direct control over any of it? Can they access it?
Okay, so for starters, our kids all have money, all 4 of them, all the way from 17 years old, 16, 10, and 9. However, they've earned all that money. Some of it's been gifts, not from us. We don't really give them money, but they've gotten some birthday gifts and holiday gifts. But the great majority of that money,
Is hustle money.
hustle. They've really earned it. They buy wholesale chocolate bars. They've got a whole business with that. Our daughter has she sews and she makes
She has an
scrunchies.
Etsy shop.
She sells on Etsy, and so they really hustle and they flip things. They make money. And we'll get to that. I think there's an entrepreneurship question where I'm super excited about that question. They're all good, but that one's my thing. So we don't complicate this. Our 2 little kids have a savings account. Each of them just have savings, and they've never made a withdrawal, right?
No.
Ever. They sell, and every time they get to $50, $100, $150, whatever it is, they make a deposit. So that's how our little kids do it. Recently, as our older kids have gotten into right around 16, we started giving them 15, 16, we started giving them full access to their bank account. That means that if they want to blow all that money that they've earned themselves, they can go ahead and do that. I think they have it like 2 separate accounts, maybe like a money market where they keep it put away, and then another one where they have a debit card. And I don't know if that's a savings or a checking, I don't know what it is, but they have a debit card. They can buy stuff with it. They also can make their own deposits. They can check online on their phone and see what their balances are. So as they get to a certain age, we've given them that liberty of saying, this is your money. We didn't give it to you, so we're not telling you what you can and can't do with it. Now, the little kids, yeah, we tell them money is just to earn it and put it away. They don't really spend anything.
Although Austin, I think we mentioned in the other video, my youngest, he's 9. He wanted to buy a certain video game, and he was desperate to play this game. So he bought it with his own money. The way we did it was we paid for it, and then we transfer it from his bank account into ours. And we show them the process so they see it and they can feel it. And it's not just kind of like, oh, if it's out of sight, out of mind, they don't know what it feels like. They see the money being transferred and being deducted from their account. So it kind of like, oh, hurts a little.
We also do another thing. Wherever you put attention, that's where kids or people, any of us, will flow to that, right? We're putting attention on something that we're going to give it energy. So when any of the kids, 1 or 2 or 3 or all 4, let's say one day, we all go to the bank and they all make deposits, or one of them or 2, whatever it is, we celebrate that. We have them bring back home the little slip, and we say, hey, and maybe at dinner, we say, so-and-so deposited $30 or $80, $100, $200, whatever it is, and this is his balance. We always make sure they include the balance on there for us at the bank. And we celebrate that. And we say, so-and-so has $4,000. Look at that. And it builds a little competition among them. And we've even had competitions. Like we say, set a target by which date are you going to have X amount? Or what day are you going to pass up your sibling because they're close in age and they have had the same amount of time to hustle. So that we do these little things. Like last summer, 2 of them, the 2 little ones, were really racing against each other. What they didn't know is I was cheering them on individually, saying, hey, your brother's got this much, you really got to work harder to pass him. And then I'd go, hey, your sister says she's going to beat you and she has this much. And then they'd be racing and both just working hard toward that.
And they also get their bank statements and they review them. They look to see how much interest they got that month, and like, oh, how much did you get? And so it's like it's a family thing. A few of them, like my second oldest son, he likes to keep every single statement, even though he can see it online. He just likes to have that in hand. So they're all different, but I guess in theory it's all the same. Okay,
Yes.
so here's your question. How do you instill entrepreneurship in your children?
Yeah, so this was something I worried about when I was I don't even know if we had kids yet. And I was already thinking, I hope my kids work hard. I hope they save. I hope they invest. I hope they hustle. And so we just did our best ever since they were little, talking the way we talk as entrepreneurs. So they always heard that around the house, even when they're little. They hear our conversations. So that stuff's just normal to them.
And they've met different entrepreneurs.
They've met probably 100 entrepreneurs at least personally, and that's an influence on them. So, but Jessica reminded me earlier about an example. So years ago, I would take the two older boys when we only had two kids and they were little. I would take them to stores and toy stores and all kinds of different things just to keep them busy. Especially Jessica used to work as a nurse back then, and she'd come home from the overnight shift and she'd have to sleep. So I'd take these two little kids out of the house and keep them busy for some 6 hours so she could sleep. And I remember one day we were leaving a store and my oldest said, "Can we go on those little three horses that you put a bunch of quarters in, merry-go-round, and it just goes in circles?"
Pretty like at the mall.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah. And I said to him, "I'll tell you what. I will give you $1 to put it in there, but I'll give you another choice. You can either do that, or when you don't, or option 2, you don't do it, and when we get home, I'll give you $1, and that $1 is going to be your savings. You start saving dollars, and when we have enough dollars, we're going to buy that whole machine. We'll buy a merry-go-round, and when we buy it, number one, you can ride it all day. You can be on it all you want." But then we're also going to have other little kids ride it, and they're going to give you $1 every time they want to ride it. And his eyes lit up, and he says, "I will wait. I'll wait till we get home, and I want the $1." Now, the reality is we're not buying a merry-go-round. I knew we weren't.
And he forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about it 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is that it sparked this interest. And he said, I could either spend money now and it's gone, or I can invest it and it's going to give me many more times so I can go on that merry-go-round many times. In fact, we have another story about that. You remember
with the
this?
Same child.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of factors into what you just said, the same example. So he came across, was it in a garage sale?
I was thinking about the elephant story at the circus.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That wasn't what I was thinking.
Okay.
So at the garage sale, the Pac-Man.
Yeah.
So he found this very cool arcade, like old school, tall.
Original 1980 Pac-Man machine.
Yeah. And it was $400.
Yeah, they were asking $400.
Well, you can finish the story.
He was I think 11. This comes up in my memories on Facebook once a year. I think he was 11. And we went to this garage sale. I started my business by hustling and going to garage sales in high school, taking stuff to the flea market. So one day on a Friday, I'm driving and I see neighborhood garage sale tomorrow, Saturday, 9 a.m. And I wrote it in my calendar. And in the morning, I woke up our son and I said, "We're going to go to a garage sale. I'm going to show you how I made my money when I was young. Bring your money." So he brought a wad of cash and we went looking and we saw that Pac-Man machine and we tested it and it worked perfectly. And I told my son, "Here's what we do." See, I didn't have this advantage when I was young. I had to know what things would cost. I said, "Let's look it up online." We looked up Craigslist and eBay, and we looked up all kinds of things. And the value of these machines, they were going for $800, and this guy had it for $400. So my son and I talked about it, and I go, "Do you want to buy it?" And he said, "I don't know. I'm nervous. That's a lot of money." And
He's never made a purchase that big.
Yeah, he'd never invested like that. He'd bought erasers and pens and things he could resell, but $400. So I said, "Let's talk the guy down a little bit." And I think we got it down to...
It was like $375?
$375, something like that, maybe $350. And so when we were going to buy it, I said to my son, "You ready? You're going to do this?" And I loved that he went through this exercise of nerves and shaky hands and not knowing what to do at such a young age, because I went through that. I remember the most important purchase of my life was a $500 purchase at a garage sale. That's what started my apparel company. And my hands were shaking. When I was 20 years old, negotiating with a 40-something-year-old man, super nervous. And my son got to experience that at 11 years old. And I remember that moment where he got nervous and his heart was racing. I could, you know your kids. I saw his face getting all pumped up. He goes, "Oh." And I go, "I'll tell you what, I'll make it easy for you. If you don't buy it, I will, because I know I'll resell this thing." And he goes, "I'm going to do it. I want it. Yes." And he went over and handed the guy the money. We brought the thing. We put it in the car, brought it home, plugged it in, and he made like $20, $30 off of his friends, because he said he went and knocked on every door.
Went to the neighbors' houses.
He said, "Guys, bring quarters. I got the coolest thing. Come over." I don't know if those kids thought it was cool or not, like the way we would have thought it was cool to have an arcade machine in your house. They thought it was cool probably because it's a relic. They thought it was a time machine. For us, that would have been the most amazing thing. But for them, it was like, oh, we put a quarter in here. They were so confused, and they played the games, and they, it's just so old fashioned to them. Pac-Man, and then I showed them. We went right when we got in the house. We made a Craigslist ad, and we put the machine for $800. That was on a Saturday. I think it was Thursday night. A guy came over from a local bar that has arcade machines and bought it from Ryan for $800, and he paid like $350 or something like that.
Ryan paid $350.
Yeah, so he made let's call it $450 plus all those quarters and stuff. So what an experience at 11 years old to make that kind of cash, have it in his hand, and more important than the money, it's the fact that the self-confidence that comes with that on making money. He now feels like, I'm kind of a man. I can make money. I'm confident. I don't need to put up with crap. I know how to make money. So that was a real life incident that happened and made him feel really good about it and gave him that confidence to make more money.
So we show them the opportunities to be an entrepreneur. We always, like he said, we always talk and praise entrepreneurship, and then we always create that hunger. And I know you want to talk. We kind of spoke about that a little bit on the last video, but we don't give our kids everything. They may deserve it. They may have, they're great kids. They work hard. They do great in school. They're great in sports, but we let them have a little bit of hunger for the things in life, the best things in life.
And we find the benefit of that.
Yeah.
You know what it is? They appreciate we always look at each other and say, and we're talking quietly because we're upstairs. We always say, they're so grateful. They're always thanking us for the smallest thing. We buy them shoes, a pair of $20 shoes the other day for one of our kids, the 9-year-old. And he's so grateful. Thank you so much for these shoes. He said,
he's the same one who was thanking me for buying that video game
with his own money.
Paid for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think if we give too much, and we see this all the time, you see kids that are not grateful. I see adults who obviously grew up in a situation where they're not grateful about anything, and which, by the way, all that does is hurt them. They don't have a beautiful life. They don't have this life of awe and appreciation and happiness because they got everything. And we see it all the time. We know people who are not happy, and we know what their childhood was like. They got every toy they wanted. They were taken to all these amazing things, and so now it's you set the bar so high that everything after that is really low.
So yeah, I think that covers that question. The next question, where do you draw the line on experimentation? Going out, partying, sex, drugs?
Okay, so we do not allow anything illegal. So we're not going to allow...
So zero tolerance for that.
Yeah, nothing illegal. You want to go do illegal things when you get out of our house? Go for it. Hopefully you don't, because we've taught you so well. We don't do things that are illegal. We don't do drugs. I don't even drink alcohol, so I don't want them drinking alcohol. What else?
Going out, we do have a curfew for them.
For the 2 older ones. The little ones are too little.
Yeah. And as long as they live under our roof, Mama Bear here needs to know where they are. So I have the Life 360 app. I know they don't love it, but for peace of mind, I need to have that. So we don't restrict where they go per se. They've gone to the beach with their friends. They've gone out places. But as long as I know where they're at and they do know they have a curfew, that's kind of where we're at. Now, if they violate the curfew, then there's consequences. It's not a free-for-all. So regarding, going out, partying, sex, I guess that's all personal choice. Every family has their own rules and their own policies. We're not going to get into details, but basically just for us, our main focus, I guess, for this topic would be the curfew, the knowing their location, zero tolerance for anything illegal.
So their location has to be turned on at all times.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know about this app. What's it called? Life 360. It's pretty good. At any given moment, anywhere in the country, right? Mm-hmm. As long as they can.
I think so.
Yeah,
they haven't left the country, so I'm not 100%
right. But I mean,
sure.
have we seen them in other states?
Yeah.
When they go to camp and stuff, we could see their location. You see exactly where they are.
But better than that, in addition to that, I should say, it tells you the speed that they're driving, or the person that's driving in the car. So there has been some instances, more than one, where we've let them do something with their friends and they've gone like 85, 90 on the highway, and that's a big no-no.
So then, obviously, we know who they're with, and we have a conversation with them. We go, okay, you're not going with that person again. So what it makes our kids do is say, hey, I want to go out with you again, so I need you to go like 75, maybe 80, but don't go 90 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour. It also, talk about like kind of helicopter parents, which we're not, except for this is an exception. It tells you how, if they had a sudden stop, if they're slamming the brakes, right? Because it records their speed, and then it knows they came to a quick stop. So,
And just for the record, I'm not on the phone tracking them the whole day. Like,
right.
I'm not at all. Now, if I see it's getting close to curfew and they're not home or they haven't checked in for a few hours, then I'll check and see where they're at. But I don't have the time or the energy to be watching that phone all day to find out where they are.
Yeah.
I trust that what they tell me is where they're going. If they tell me they're going to Hollywood Beach, that's where they're going to be.
Well, we're going to know. It's on the app.
Right.
If we wanted to check.
But if I wanted to be constantly checking them,
Yeah, no, you don't.
I don't do that. I take their word for it, because if they don't have trust with me or with us, they don't go out. If they burn that trust, it's a whole different ballgame. Yeah. So this is all because they're great kids. They do what they say they're gonna do, and they follow rules, and they've earned it. So that's.
And we also, like when they're out bike riding and they might go for 20 miles. Yeah. Right? We want to know where they're at. What if they fall off their bike and they get hurt?
And our second son is a runner, long distance runner.
He could go out 10, 15 miles in a day, and he's a kid. We want to know where he's at.
Actually, not too long ago, he called and said, I'm running out of battery, but this is where I'm at. I don't feel very well. Come pick me up. So we got him the thing. I checked his location and went and got him. So those are things that we use it for too.
Yeah. All right, what else?
Okay, what are your thoughts on college versus military versus going straight into the workforce or business after high school?
All right, so we, in this regard, we're not going to force. Our kids are getting to that age where they're going to graduate high school. In fact, in just over a year, 2 of our oldest will graduate high school. So they're going to be in the real world. And look, everyone's different. We're not forcing anything. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last video. I said it recently. I wanted to be a Marine, and I went to the recruiter, and I got excited, and I did everything. I was starting to work out. I had to test the ASVAB, and I had a date to go ship off. And then I said, I went to the final thing to sign all the paperwork after medical and everything. And I said, you know what? I haven't told my parents about this. I was 18, and I went home.
I would have killed you.
And this is before cell phones. So I went home. I told my parents. And they yelled at me and told me I was crazy. And what are you crazy? You're not going to go to the Marines. Of all things, the Marines are one that go in the front line and get shot. I just wanted to do the toughest thing possible. So I went home, and they talked me out of it. And I didn't do it. And I always have had that wonder, like, what would life have been like? Probably I wouldn't have met her. It might go a different direction. So maybe it's for the best. But I would have loved that. So our oldest is going to the Army, and he's just waiting for confirmation, right? Like a date.
Well, he's waiting to get clearance medically.
Okay.
Once that goes, then we'll get a date, and then.
Yeah, so he's doing that, and
with the idea of going this summer to basic training.
Yeah, in between junior and senior year. And so I knew since he was a little kid he wanted to be in the Army. It's all the costumes he did for Halloween and Army and police, and that's what he wants to do. And so I'm super proud and happy, and obviously Jessica's a mom, and so for
I'm
her,
very proud and happy.
But emotional and worried, and moms worry,
Yeah.
and especially her. She worries about those things, and especially about the kids. So, but we don't stop them. We say, that's what you want to do, go for it. We're not saying to him, you have to go to college. For what? Look.
College isn't for everybody.
It's not for everybody. We both have college degrees. Jessica has a bachelor's of science in nursing, and I have a degree I never used. And I suffered to get it. It took me 10 years because I was working full time. I had a business on the side, and I was doing classes little by little. For me, it was not necessary, and I honestly regret having gone to college. For me, I paid for it 100% myself out of my pocket. And no scholarship. I wasn't smart enough to get a scholarship. I didn't get good grades, and my parents had no money, and I didn't even think of qualifying for a loan, and I didn't want to pay interest, so I just paid it every semester. Well, that made me lose a lot of sleep, and I didn't enjoy it, and I didn't learn things I wanted to learn. Why? Because you have to take calculus for business, and I couldn't pass that. So I had to change my major to something I didn't even want to do just to get a degree, which I never used. So now, our second son has skipped a grade. He's very academic. He does very good in school. He's perfect college material. We super encourage him to go to college because he wants to. And because since he was little, he would say, yeah, when I graduate high school and I go to college, and he'd talk like that. So that's the way we speak to him. Yeah, you're going to go to college for sure. But you got to do well, push hard, do really well. He's going to pay for it himself. So we encourage them to do what we did, go to junior college. We actually had that talk with him again today. Say, nothing wrong with going to junior college for 2 years. You're going to save a ton of money. You can live at home and then go to your 4-year college. And nobody cares what junior college you went to. We both got associates from a junior college, and then we ended up but you don't talk about that when you say about your 4-year. That's what you show on your resume, your 4-year degree. So what else? About going straight to work. That's an option, right?
Yeah. And like you had said, not everybody, well, with Ryan, our older son, the one that's going into the military, I think we mentioned this on the other video too. Not everybody fits this box. It's this mold of, you finish high school, you go to college, everyone's different and everyone has different passions and different ways of learning. And so even if you go to a technical school or whatever, all of that is valid. All of that works. So whatever fits your child's mold, that's what you should push.
Yeah, encourage them that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as we always say, whatever you're going to choose to do, do it really well. If you're going to be the guy at the bank that sweeps the floors, sweep the floor really well. Do a great job. And that way, if you want to then be the person behind the counter, they'll consider you for that. And then you do that, and you do it really well. You'll be the person behind the desk, and then the manager, and then the president of the bank. But that's how we talk to our kids. Just do 100% at whatever it is that you're doing, and then that's how you move up and get more options. Did we cover everything on that one?
On that one, I think so. And then the last
All right,
question.
final question.
How do you deal with shyness?
Are you shy?
Yes.
Really? Am I shy?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I work on getting out of my comfort zone on a daily basis. It is a little bit of a struggle for me. I probably won't ever watch this video because I don't want to see.
I won't either.
But something we do with our kids is that we like to push them and challenge them. So I know with the older two, Joe would always use like girls to get them out of their comfort zone. Like, hey, you see that girl? I'll give you
$10.
Yeah, if you go, just say hi.
Yeah, just say hi.
And they'll be like, oh, okay, fine. And they'll go like, hi.
Yeah. And then when I saw they finally convincing him to, I'd add a little more. Wait, but you have to say hi. My name is, and what's your name? And then if they do that, I give them $10. Why not? First of all, it's super fun as a dad to sit there and watch them like get all red and squirm. But it's things that they're gonna get out of their system today, so that later life is easier, right? Put some challenges today. Do some workouts today, whether they're physical or mental, so that later life is really easy when you do that.
Well, our kids sell chocolates, and they're so used to going up to people and being rejected that now when they get rejected,
they don't care.
Whatever.
Imagine if all adults, who I think that's one of the biggest fears probably, public speaking, rejection, right? All of that. Imagine if all adults could have had all this practice being rejected when they were younger. And I sold a lot of stuff when I was little. So I got rejected, and I dealt with it, and I'm pretty good at rejection. In fact, when we were dating, we were cross country. I was in California, and she was 3,000 miles away in Miami. And we were talking every night, and she kind of got tired of that. And she kind of started getting rid of me and saying, I don't know, I'm not ready for this, blah, blah, blah. I've been rejected before. You're talking to the wrong guy. So I just kept pushing and convinced her over the phone, 3,000 miles away. And then I moved here, and you all ready? When I got here, she started rejecting a little bit. Like, I don't know, it's all moving so fast. That's a whole other video. It's moving so fast. And I was like, no.
That's not what this is
about. We're moving forward. And that came because of all the rejection. So allow your kids to get rejected. Our kids this is awesome. They would put on a suit, you remember? And go door to door to sell chocolates. It was so cute. I would go on the sidewalk on my bike, just walking my bike like right next to me. And one child would be at this house on this side of the street, and the other one would be that way. That way I could go like this and keep an eye on both of them. They were maybe 7 and 8 years old, 6 and 5, whatever they were. And I'd watch them both, and they'd go. And then after they finished each house, we'd meet up kind of in the middle and go to the next house. And they'd tell me their little stories real quick. They go, oh, that person was super nice, and he bought 5 chocolates, and he said, come back tomorrow, I'll buy more. And someone said, I was just about to go to the store and buy chocolates, and you came at the perfect time. And then sometimes they go, that person was really mean. They said, no, get out of here. And they slammed the door. And instinctually, at first I'd be like, oh, how dare they do that? And then I go, thank you. Thank you. That's good, because now my kids are getting that much tougher. You're callousing their denial reflex. Okay, so a big important thing. We have a couple notes here. So I avoid the word shy, because the question is, how do you deal with shyness? And I see this with so many kids where you go to say hi to them and they go hide. Our kids may have had that instinct initially, maybe when they were little. We got rid of it pretty quickly because we promoted and pushed them to say hi. But then we don't call our kids shy. I never say, oh, he's shy. I'll never say that, because then those words mean something to that kid. And you're telling that kid, you're shy. Yeah, he's shy. He's shy. And the kid's like, well, I'm shy. This is what I do. So to break out of that is going to be really difficult when he gets older. And I'm always thinking about the kid today and that adult tomorrow. So what I've said to him is, you're not like that. That's not you. You're being shy. You're acting shy. That's not you. Remember yesterday you were dancing and singing and shaking your butt and all this. You're not shy. And then they kind of they laugh and they get out of it and they go say hi to people. So we highly encourage that, to avoid going in that direction. What else?
We had the one example.
What's that one? Oh yeah. So our son, who's now in high school, when he was in elementary school, there's this really, I don't know, I haven't seen her in years. I'm sure
she's beautiful.
Yeah, when she was a little girl, she was so cute. And our son had a crush on her. And we got that out of him, probably me, asking 1,000 times, she's really pretty, do you like her? And they would play together. And finally I got him to admit yes. And I said, you know what we should do? Do you know what her favorite kind of chocolates or candies are or whatever? And he said, yeah, it's like this white Hershey's, or cookies and cream Hershey's. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I said, let's go to Walgreens and let's go buy her a big old chocolate, right? And then we'll go to her house, you knock on the door and you give it to her and say, I know that you like these, so I bought you these.
By the way, she's our neighbor. It's not like we went into another community looking
right,
at her door.
And we're friends with the parents.
Yeah, we're friends with the parents.
Yeah. So I took him over there. He got dressed all cute, and I waited in the street, parked, and he walked up to the door, knocked on the door. The father came to the door and said, yeah, can I help you? And he says, is the girl home? He says, yeah. And he goes and gets her, and I'm sure he's standing right there watching what's going on. And he sees, hi, so-and-so. I know you like these chocolates. These are for you. And she's all getting red, and he's feeling like that. And the dad, he told me later, the dad was looking at me real serious. And so, that builds confidence. For a boy that age to work up the courage to do that, when most kids today won't look you in the eye, won't talk to a girl, right? They're so shy, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think this next batch of kids are going to procreate because they seem to be shy. I guess that's why we got that question. And not just little kids, older kids. Fortunately for us, we've gotten to the point where they're not shy anymore, none of them, mm-hmm. right? But yeah, that takes effort. And you got to work at it and give them little challenges. And they say no to a lot of these challenges because sometimes I've said...
sometimes he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He would never do the things that he tells the kids to do.
But I didn't have anybody coaching me the way I wish they would have. So I'll tell the kids, like, there's a group of, they're high schoolers, and then there's a group of 6 girls over there. And I go walk over there and ask the prettiest one for her phone number. And if you get it, I'll give you $50. And they'll, they don't do it most of the time. However, I love that mental exercise because if you go through the exercise, it's almost like you did it, right? You felt the nerves. The next time you feel the nerves, they're not as much because that's your 5th time, your 20th time feeling the nerves. Then it's not so bad, right?
I guess.
You're a girl. You didn't have to deal with that. Yeah, for a guy, it's really hard. So the fathers out here listening to this, you get it. If you ever felt those nerves and that struggle, don't you wish you could have practiced this at an early age? Not just with girls, but with anything. So we've also seen that with asking for a job. Our 2 oldest. Mm-hmm. Our oldest has been sweeping floors since he was 10 at a barber shop and working since then. The second one is 16. He's worked for me multiple summers in our warehouse. And he also is now in the process of applying for jobs. And he has an interview coming up. But that's easy for him. He's going to look that guy in the eye, or girl, the manager, and not have a problem and have a great conversation, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to have a great conversation. And he's going to get hired. I'm sure he's going to get hired. If not there, he'll get the next job. But
well, actually, speaking on that, our older son, when he went for his interview for his job, he's been in about the last year, he says during the interview, the interviewee would not look at him.
No, the interviewer.
I'm sorry, interviewer, right? Would not.
The manager would not look our son in the eyes.
My son was just looking at him the whole time, and he was just looking. The interviewer was looking down the whole time and would not.
Zero social skills. The manager. So here you have this kid standing straight up, dressed really nice, and yes, sir, how are you? And looking him in the eyes. And the manager is okay, and barely mumbling and looking down. that was a proud moment for me to see. I didn't see it, but she walked by and saw him interviewing, and she told me all about it, that he looked amazing. He looked like the owner of that business, and the other guy looked like a loser, right? Who was trying to get a job but had all the wrong social skills. So unfortunately, yeah, that guy got to a position to be able to interview people. That's probably as high as he's going to get because he doesn't have the people skills. And we believe that school's nice and learning is phenomenal beyond school, but people skills is what matters the most. Yeah, if you can connect with people and show them how you care about them and make them feel really good, that's priceless. All right, that's it. We've answered 5 questions. I did not ask this last time, and somebody told me, and I should have said it like every 10 minutes. Please like this video. Please share it with people, because if you don't, we're not going to do it again. And also, if you don't, it won't catch the YouTube algorithm, and we won't ever be seen. And then it's not fun if nobody sees this. We're not trying to make money off this channel. We're trying to have fun and just share what's really worked really well for us. All right, thank you guys.
Bye.